So hey guys, hope you're doing great. Welcome to the live. So today we'll be discussing all about assimilation test and how to crack it. So stay tuned till the entire session and feel free to ask your questions. Drop it on the chat so that we can take it at the end. So we'll wait for a few more people to join in and then we'll start. So I keep on getting the same question, so we'll wait for a couple of minutes and then we'll now get through with this. So to crack the assimilation test, it is pretty easy that you can do it. Now, if you are from a CS and IT background and if you know programming a little, then it is really easy to crack it. Or else it is not that difficult. I would tell you that uh, I previously got information or one of my friend she attended this simulation data and she has given me a lot of briefing. So I'll brief you all those things. So stay tuned until that. So when it comes to training for this, so you don't require a lot of intense training or intense working on programming data structures and algorithms, and don't have to do anything of this such kind. So it is pretty easy that once you get the basics right, so it is pretty easy that once you start doing your programming work, it will be really easy to cope up with what else you will be asked in the simulation test. So let me tell you the pattern. Okay, so the pattern goes something like this. Okay, so you have two separate tests. One will be your programming purely on Java and C sharp, and the second thing is purely for SQL. So you will have this two exams at two different timings. So as per my knowledge, so had a feedback from a couple of people, so they have shared with me a few things, so I'll share the same with you guys as well, so you'll get an idea of what to expect and what will be the test on other things. So as I said, there will be like two parts. First will be the Java and or C sharp. You can do any of those two. And C sharp I have covered it in two videos. So one is full of basics. So you will start with basic C sharp and other things, if conditionals, while loops, for loops, and other things. And the second part is a complete e-commerce project. So it's like a complete a small command line project you can build on top of that. Feel free to do that, and the entire code is on GitHub, so if you want to use it or if you want to build on top of that, you can definitely do that as well. So I have covered all the basics of classes and oops concept a little. So if you are if you are clear with till that, I tell you that 50 to 60 percentage you are crossed, you are already or a good performer in this assimilation test. So once you cross that level, then it is pretty easy to crack the assimilation test. So once you get the hold of it, right? So it goes on after that. Ankit Kumar, yes, sir, please share the sequel. And yeah, so we'll do that shortly. So I'll tell you what where the questions came from and how the questions will look like. So we'll try to cover up those as well. Okay. So I got feedback from people. So I didn't take up the test. I got the feedback from people. So I'll share the same so that you can crack that assimilation and get into a good domain so that you can build on top of your you can go ahead and do the career. You can have a great career at Cognizant. So what I was discussing was two parts, right? So one is C sharp, and I have covered all the C sharp basics and other things on previous live. So if you haven't watched that, please do. So we'll continue with SQL and other things maybe next week. So do stay tuned for that as well. So C sharp is completely done. So you start off with basics. So what is C sharp and the basic for, print statements, and how do you get inputs and how do you get arrays and input and other things. And when it comes to oops concept, so you just need to know how to declare an object for a class and how do you use methods and data members and other basic things, right? So you have some basic things with oops. So once you are uh, or can satisfy those needs, like basic concepts of hoops and class, and how to create an object, how to call it, and how how to assign data members values. So once you know those small things, so it is easy to build on top of when you get on with assimilation test, it will be like easier for you to cross this assimilation test and go ahead. So once you do that, so you have two tests, right? So one in the morning and one in the evening. Let me tell you the timing as well. So it is 10:30. So for one it was 10:30 in the morning, so you have Java and C sharp, and you have 3:30 p.m. you where you have the SQL. So on the same day you will have both the tests. Okay, so one in the morning and one in the afternoon. So make sure that your internet connectivity and other things are good, so that you won't get into any trouble there. So make sure that you do that, and once everything is fine, so make sure that you recollect everything and write some notes, so that it will help you on a day before you taking up the test, so that you can do a revision kind of a thing, so that it helps you to crack the test. So, and with that's it for the questions and other things. So the next is what are the parts. So the first part is Java, right? So the first test is Java and other thing. So for Java, we they had like 4 programming questions along with SQL query. So it might differ with people, they say. So you can expect more questions for you and less questions for others. So it depends. They have said it like that, I'm not sure. So it might differ. So you don't if your friend is taking something in the something from previous week, so you won't get the same question the next week. So you can never expect that. So that will never happen. They do know that these kind of things can happen, so they never do that. They different. They have some different questions set. Will the marks of the simulation test impact our job offer letter? So it won't directly impact your job offer letter though, but it will have some impact, since if you get into, if you clear the simulation test, right? So you already know the basics of programming and other things. They teach you to, they train you on you know full stack or any other advanced tech. So once you do that, you might get offer letter soon after you complete your intern, right? So you might get your offer letter soon, but it is not guaranteed that if you don't do don't perform well at final project, so there might be a week that you might not get the offer letter soon. So you have to focus on only on the final project, what you have been taking up. So try to move focus more on that. So this is like a first entry ticket. So once you clear this, you have a lot of things to do after you get in, or after you clear this assimilation test. What preparations can non-circuit branches get marks in assimilation test? So preparation, so I have covered C sharp already. So C sharp is already been done. So in 2 videos. So one is basics, and another thing is for Oops concept. So if you haven't watched that, please do. So that will help you. So that is that I think that is completely enough to get you trained on C sharp. So you can attempt your simulation test with C sharp. So if you're not familiar with C sharp, it is more kind of C and C++. So it'll help you, like if you have learned or if you have some basics of C and C++ or even Java. So Java guys, you can take up Java as well, since they have the Java already within their reach. So Java or C sharp. So C sharp is what you will be trained on if you enter into .NET. So if you they put you in .NET, right? So .NET is a domain. It is a web framework. If they put you on that, you need C sharp. So if there is a chance, there by chance, if you get into .NET, so you won't regret learning C sharp. So once you learn that, you will never regret that after that. So that is easily we can prepare. So non-circuit or circuit batch, it is not like no, it is like programming or not. So that is at the end of the day, they come to a conclusion of something like that. Even if you're CSNIT, if you don't clear a simulation test, then there is no point in putting you in a good domain. So it really depends. So programming or not. So that is the final question they would ask you. So try to be good at programming, so that helps you a lot in clearing the simulation test, and even after that it will help you a lot. So I hope that answered your question. how many, right? Okay. What is the step plus exam we are getting after joining internship? So I'm not aware of the step plus exam. So I think it is after internship. So I'm not sure. I have to refer with few people. So I'll let you know on that. I'll keep you updated. So good YouTube channel, free courses to learn. So you can use W3 schools. That is what Cognizant recommends. So once you get into internship, right? So they will give you free Udemy access. You can learn from that. Before that, they will also have some references to W3 school. So and if you are familiar with programming and you can use Stack Overflow, you can search for different things and you can learn by that as well. So that really helps you a lot in solving a lot of problems for you. So you can just learn by tutorial, so you don't have to watch the entire video. So if you are a beginner, I would really recommend that you watch a video and learn. So that will help you a lot. So once you are strong with a single language, right? So once you are strong with C or C++ or Java, it is easy for you to switch from Java to C sharp or even Python. So there are minor details that has to be noted when you switch languages, but the core concept or the core functionality remains the same. So only the syntax and other things differ, and they might the language might have advanced or the syntax might be different. They have some new features or new oops concept implemented in a different way. So the base is the same. The base is the same as C and C++. So you won't feel any huge difference with this any languages. So C and C++ the standard. So everything is built on top of that. So you can be guaranteed that if you are familiar with C and C++, you will have a better understanding of various languages. So once you start learning various languages, you will have a better understanding of it. So can a person with basic C programming can play the sim? So since you don't have C and C++, the assimilation test, you have to learn additional languages, Java or C sharp. So I suggest you to learn C sharp or Java. So C sharp is what I prefer. So if you are into Java, it is also fine. So Java is another language. So it has been pretty popular. So if you want to learn Java, it's well and good. You can learn it. Or if you want to learn C sharp, so it is also pretty good. You can learn that as well. So it is up to you that you choose either of those. But my preference is go with C sharp. So once you start learning a different language, right? So Java, most people know it, and C sharp, it is developed and maintained by the ASP.NET framework is developed and maintained by Microsoft. So you have a good chance of getting into Microsoft if you are familiar with C sharp. If you learn those their tech, so it is really easy for you to get into those companies might be in the future. So you have a proficiency level when you work with C sharp, right? So that will help you a lot. So my preference is go with C sharp. So with that said, so coming back to the question, so there will be like four questions, okay, four coding questions, or there might be queries as well. So and you have 10 to 12 MCQs. So the MCQs will be like basic programming questions like what is object. No, it won't be like what is object or what is method will do. You might expect some debugging questions. Okay, so another MCQs will be like too common. Object and know what is exactly object of this one, and how do you declare an object for this class. So those are the basic questions. So you can search for MCQs of various languages. So basics of programming. So you will get a ton of blogs which explain that. So you can prepare with that as well. Okay. So the MCQs are pretty easy. So you don't have to strain. So if once you learn basics of programming, you already have the knowledge. Or someone has said basics of C. So once you have the basics of C and C++ or even C, you might feel MCQs pretty easy. So that will be damn easy. So you don't have to worry a lot on the MCQs. So another thing is that the duration is 2.5 hours. So I am not sure why they kept too long. So if you are preparing to attempt the simulation, it makes sure that you are comfortable for 2.5 hours. So you might end up stressing yourself. So 2.5 hours is might be long. So the real or the real test what you have inside Cognizant might take to 4 to 6 hours of exam. So make sure that you are able to you know grab yourself be up at 4 to 5 hours. So that is mostly the situation that you will be in when you join Cognizant. So with that said, so and the questions are pretty easy, so you don't have to worry about clearing them, but you have to have the basics. Okay, so we have covered the basics. As I said earlier, we have few basics of C sharp covered already. We did while loop, for loop, and other things. Okay, so we have already kept all the things, basics. Pattern printing we have seen a small e-commerce project. So once you get into those kind of programs, so you will have understand the programming language better, so that you will be able to solve things. Okay, so with general understanding, or if just with just common sense, you can definitely solve the programming problems whatever you get for this assimilation test. So it is pretty recommended that you at least learn the syntax or different syntaxes on hand, so that it will be helping you a lot. So we have covered how to get input from the user as an array. So how do you parse it to an integer? You will get all the know from the when you get standard output stream, you will get all the things as a string. Okay, so you have to pass the string into an integer. So we have seen some shortcuts to that. So we have covered few all the most of the things what is required for assimilation test. We have covered all things, so I'll be putting up another video on C sharp. So just 15 to 16 minutes of recap, so that it will help you a lot. So for Java and other programming question, it is pretty simple. We have basic loops, if conditionals. You have a little bit of inheritance and some basic oops concept. So that is pretty much easy. If you go through that different blocks, you will definitely get some references to inheritance and other things. But we have covered classes and objects on our second live, so that will help you a lot in taking up those questions. Is exam online? So to that, so make sure that you don't. I don't think they will have some uh, person to watch you out, but it is on hackerrank, I guess. So we had on hackerrank, so you might feel the same. So if you haven't tried it yet, please do. So hacker rank is pretty much what typical hacker rank challenge. So if you are familiar with the platform, so you know how it goes, and how it is. So it is basically hacker rank. So can do so. I'll let you know, keep you updated. Not sure, since we had on hacker rank, so you might have also the same. Can we get hometown as location after onboarding? So this time everything will be virtual man, so you don't have to worry about the location, but make sure that you give preferred location whichever is near your hometown or whatever you chose. So once you are after intern, right, so once you complete your intern and get your full time, so you might be put into the preferred location. So it is a pretty much 95% of chance, by chance you might land up in your preferred location. So there is only 5% of failure, right? So but make sure that you do your it really depends. So you cannot say that I won't work on different locations. So try to enjoy what you do, so you get to travel, right? So make sure that you take the most advantage out of it. So yeah. So coming back to SQL question. So SQL, you have to learn the basics of joins. So you have inner join, outer join, left and right. So make sure that you have some basics of inner join, outer join, and other things. So you might expect another video on SQL as well. So specifically for the assimilation test. So we'll cover a few things. We'll wind up things faster, so that you get a grasp of a few things like the SQL queries and other things. So after this live also, we might take up few SQL questions and try to solve them. So I have solved pretty much most of the hacker rank. So let me show you some examples from my GitHub repo, so that you will get an idea of know how it is. So that is it for SQL questions. Joins, you have joins group by, order by, and other classes. So those are pretty much the basics of SQL. So if you are just starting out of SQL, you are new to database and other things, try to just get the basics of SQL. So how to select different columns in a table. So those are the basic questions that you must be able to solve. So if you even don't get those basic questions right, so it is pretty difficult. You will most likely be unable to clear the assimilation test. So make sure that you at least have basics of SQL. So just learn the basics of SQL. So you don't have to have a deeper understanding of different databases out there. We have MySQL, we have Postgres, we have Cassandra, we have a ton of languages, and query languages. We have MySQL, we have a different syntax might differ, and T-SQL we use it for Microsoft SQL Server. So and we have Oracle. So there are different query languages for different databases. So most likely you will have the syntaxes the same, but here and there there might be some few minor changes here and there. So make sure that you at least learn one thing in a good way. So MySQL and T-SQL will be slightly different. So make sure that you at least learn MySQL. So that will help you a lot. So just install MySQL, or if you can do it on hackerrank, it is pretty much fine. You can take up the SQL challenge. So they have like they go from basics to top tier. So if you are into that, please do take up that. So I'll put you the link on hackerrank, so where you can solve it, or I will show you, where you can take up that hackerrank SQL challenges. So that will help you a lot. So once you start solving SQL problems, right? So once you start solving it, you will get used to that, and you can easily crack your assimilation test. So the MCQs, as I said, it is pretty easy. So you have two tests. So make sure that you attend both. You have the Java or C Sharp, and you have SQL at the end of the day. So make sure that you attend both. Okay, so that you will have some people take up like I have attended the test in the morning, I'm not sure, or I'm not aware of the test in the afternoon, so I missed it. So there are a lot of cases of that kind. So make sure that you attend both the tests. So they will give you a separate mail or for those. So make sure that you add in your calendar, or you write it down, or take some notes, so that you, or put it in a reminder or something, so that you don't forget your simulation test. So coming back to questions, so can we get some sample questions or previous questions asked during the simulation test? So I don't quite remember my question. So it is some really basic, man. So once you see the pattern we have, right? So we have this pyramid pattern. We have this right angle triangle. So there are basic pattern questions. You might expect a pattern for sure. You might expect something from arrays. So I won't specify the questions. It is like uh, you know okay, let if I tell you the questions, right? So once you clear the simulation test, okay, you don't have the knowledge of programming, okay, you get into a good domain which is really hard to learn, and then you struggle there. So it is not recommended that you go there and struggle. So instead of that, and if you struggle there, it is waste of your time and their time as well. So once you start struggling at the start, right, so you will struggle the entire internship, and you cannot do well in your end project. So make sure that you stick into your skill set. So I have this skill set, I can work on this. So make sure that you have that kind of a mindset when you go to corporate, or when you move from your college to corporate level. So make sure you do that. You cannot expect this previous year questions like you do in college, right? You have previous year questions and previously asked questions, so it is of no use. So try to don't ask these kind of questions or sample questions. No, I told you, right, it will be purely basic. Just know the basics of programming, you can definitely crack it. So I even told what will the question pattern be. so you can get an idea of what questions to expect. So if you have previously attempted any campus drive or even the hacker earth campus drive, so there are virtual drives or hackathons happening. So if you have attended any of those, you might get an idea of how the questions are asked. So you might expect from pattern. So pattern is for sure, array is for sure, and you might get something in string. So these are pretty much the basics of programming. So once you start programming, you'll know all these. So you can train yourself on these areas. So how do you get the array as an input? How do you get a string? How do you analyze the string and find the number of words, reverse the string? So those are the basic questions that you will get. So try to cope up with those kind of questions. So I already told most of the questions, so do start practicing it so that it will be easy for you to crack it up. So is cut off there for assessment. So they don't have any kind of cut off. So it is percentile. So you have to cross, you have to be good among people, right? So there might be a cutoff, I'm not sure, or there might be, you have to be good at, with different people. So there might be cutoff like 80 percentage. So above 80, you have to score to get into. You have to clear a simulation test. So another thing I forgot to mention is that in colleges you have 50 percentage, right? So as a pass, you will have 80 to 95 percentage in corporate. So make sure that you score above that. Okay, so you can never expect that 50 to 50 percentage or 35 or 40. So they expect people to be very good. So make sure that you hit above 85 or 90. 90 plus is always the good category, or 95 plus 95 plus is pretty good. So make sure that you are in a pretty good state. So 95 plus, I would highly recommend that you hit 95 plus, or even 90 plus is okay, but don't go beyond below that. So that will really be hectic. I know it can really affect your career. So make sure that you hit above 90. So make sure that you solve all the questions. So you there might be places where you cannot find some test cases. So the corner cases, it is difficult to solve, but make sure that you at least try, do all the other cases test cases are passing or not. So make sure at least you cover all those normal or pretty easy ones. So that will help you a lot. So that is it for cutoff and other things. So I'm having some semester exams from March and internship from third trip. So yeah, so for exams you can get some permission, like you have to mention the number of the timeline that you won't be available uh, uh, in a particular day. So you mail your coach stating that I won't be available for this duration. So once you are done with the duration, you come back to your training. So there is you can they will give you permission to do that. So you can write your exams. What if you are unable to clear a simulation test? So if you are unable to crack the simulation, don't feel bad. So most people feel bad and they don't do even well in their internship. So even if you don't clear the simulation test, you will be put in a domain, right? So make sure you shine in the domain, and make sure that you learn different things. So if you have a friend on who has cleared a simulation test, you can ask him or her to explain what are the things that they learn, so you both can learn different things. So I have said this in my previous life. So I had a friend on Selenium. Okay, he's from testing the team. So if you are put in testing, don't feel bad. So even testing is pretty good. So I even learned a lot of things from him. So if you have someone from our different domain, right, so it will help you a lot in learning different things. So with Selenium you can do a ton of things. So you can order things from Flipkart and other things. You can book tackle tickets. You don't have to do it manually. You can automate all those things. So there are pretty cool things that you can do with Selenium. So testing is not pretty bad once you are creative enough to use things in a different way, think from a different perspective. It is really any field or any domain, it is pretty interesting. So make sure you create your interest in yourself, even if you don't clear your assimilation test. So if you don't clear your assimilation test, what will happen is you will be put into a maybe might be a testing domain or legacy domain, like mainframe or different other things. So make sure that you don't lose your hope. Try to keep up and do things. So I hope that answered that question. Moving on, what if I don't have any knowledge on programming? What preparation can? So if you don't have any knowledge on programming, then it is really difficult for you to crack. But you can. It takes just 2 to 3 weeks to learn things. If you are already into programming, then it is pretty easy to grasp the basics of C sharp and you can easily crack it. But if you're pretty new to programming, then it is pretty difficult to train you on. So if you're interested to learn, right, so once you create the interest on yourself to learn programming, any language or want to learn programming, it is pretty easy. So it takes at least 2 to 3 weeks to get at least a grasp of what is a compiler and what is an interpreter and how these things work under the hood and how things are happening when you write some programs and you get your output, and you need some time to for your brain to understand new things. So it takes some time, but you can do it. So if you have time, you can definitely do it. So 13th, right? So you have a ton of time. So make sure that you use it wisely and start preparing from today. So at least 2 to 3 years of day of preparation for programming will do. So make sure that you at least do that. So it will help you a lot. It will save you a lot of time. Going from basic domain. So another thing that I would suggest you is that if you are new to programming, right, so you can definitely skip the assimilation test. So you will be taught from the basic, or you will be considered as base level. So even if you don't do well, right, in different domains, so once, let's say you are put into some full stack, which is more people join in, and there are a ton of people who are learning full stack, and they already know all the basics of programming. They start learning frameworks and go really fast, so they complete all the hands-ons really fast, and you are the you feel like you are discouraged, and you will feel you are the last person in the class. So those things can really hurt you a lot. So make sure that you learn it, or else you have to learn it slowly. So make sure you switch, or you have your feelings intact. So there are, I have seen a lot of people doing that. So they get the code from other people, they copy it, and they just paste it, and then they enter into a good domain, and they struggle there. So you will definitely struggle once you get there. So you will have a one-to-one interview, so you cannot copy from anywhere on one-to-one interview. So the interviewer will ask you to code different things, so you can never do that. So it will really help it is really disgusting to if someone is asking you to code the same code that you have done, and you are unable to do that, then it is not like it is really not that you're showing your honesty to them. So this really the integrity that helps you a lot. So you will learn those kind of values. They will teach you a lot in during your internship. So you will have your language training, so they will teach you a lot about integrity and other things. So I hope that answered your question, Yashwant. If I don't know any answers for a simulation, how can I upload? uh, so if you don't have any answers, once you start preparing, you will at least know some basics. You can just put something in the editor and see if things are working. So if you are really out of your mind, you don't have any option, so you can just quit. So don't have to waste your time sitting in front of something that you don't know. So you can definitely quit and start working on programming. So that is the real advice that I will give you. So if you don't know something, right, so you have to learn. You cannot just sit there and stare at the monitor for 2 to 3 hours. So it is purely waste of time. So no, simulation test doesn't decide your package. So you might have you are already into packages, right? So for Gen Z you have 4.5, and Gen Z next you have 6.5. So you are already categorized. So the packages, see, the only the domain matters. The domain they separate with the simulation test. So the package remains the same even if you clear the simulation test, or you don't clear. So package doesn't change. So what programming can I learn at basic level to crack? So you can start off with C sharp. So you don't have any time learning C and C++. So you can start right away with C sharp. So that will be friendly. So you can start with C sharp. I have two videos on that. So you can learn via that, or you can use whatever tutorial or you want. So it is up to you to take up any of those and learn. So but I have covered all the basic questions or basic things that you need to crack the simulation test. So you can definitely watch that. There are TPOs saying your internship comes. So is there any chance that till April there? So I'm not sure of April. So it is pretty late if you go with April. So it is most people will complete their intern on April. So by April, you might see people completing their intern. So I'm not sure. You might expect you will get your internship letters little early by March, end of March or the start of March. So for CSD people you might get on April. So you will have a different setup, entire different setup for CSD people. So I know it is for them. I guess I'm not sure on that as well. So you won't do it in office. So as per news and speculations around, you might see that Cognizant won't call you to office definitely for not for interns. So it is difficult for them to arrange different things for you. So even we are not yet into office, and there are speculations that we might get into office on after April. So we have to see how the pandemic goes. So it is purely based on the pandemic and other situations, how the vaccine is rolling out. So how fast is the vaccine rolling out, and we have to see a lot of things. So you can wait till that. So yeah, can I choose the location of internship if I get internship? So yeah, you might have filled some Google Sheets or Google Forms or whatever. So your college TPO has might have sent something to you, right? So you might have already filled it, or you will get your preferred locations though. So you will have the internship this year fully virtual, so you don't have to worry about the locations for internship. But make sure that you give your preferred location, even for this internship, so that will decide which location you will be put in after your internship as a full time. I hope that answered your question, Drew. It is continue to sit from 9 to 6 in internship with the webcam. So you won't sit continuously from 9 to 6 on a webcam, but you can just join the meeting, right? So you will have a different platform where you have to join, and you might be asked to turn on the webcam, but not all the time, not from 9 to 6. So you will have a break. You will have lunch in between, and you have other breaks. So you can take some break. So it is not mandatory that you have to sit in front of monitor for 9 to 6. So yeah. Can I get RPS? So it really depends, man. So robotics or Cognizant has different clients, right? So they have vast majority of clients with them. So I think RPS robotic process automation, right? So for that, they have different. They work with different clients. So if there is a requirement, but you have the standard domains as full stack. You have the testing. So and you have the data analytics, business analytics, and you have various domains on that. But specific RPAs, like you might there might be or there may not be. There might be a few, right? So if client ask for people who are good at RPA, but when this IoT is booming in the digital era, and the digital platforms are growing a lot. So there might be a chance that if there is requirement, then Cognizant will definitely satisfy, and they will train you on that domain. So make sure you watch out for that. Once internship complete, will there be any interview? Yes, you will have it. So once you are done with the interview, right, sorry, internship, right, so you will have the final project. So you will ask to pick up few questions. Okay, so you will have a few questions, and you will be asked to do the complete project by yourself. You cannot get help from anyone. You can get it, but you have to do it alone. So once you do it, right, so you will have a interview at the end. So you have to explain the project and how you did it, and line by line, or it depends upon the interviewer. He or she might ask you to explain line by line coding and how you did this. And there might be a case scenario that the interviewer would ask you to type something on the editor. So with screen share, you have to write some SQL queries, or you have to type some C Sharp or .NET or Java Spring Boot, or whatever your domain is. You will be asked to type those. So if you're planning to do something silly, so you will be definitely caught there. So once you are not doing well in your final project, right, so you won't get the full-time job. You will again put into training, and once you don't clear even after that, and it is sad that you might be terminated. So they might not roll the offer for you. So it is pretty difficult. So make sure that you are good at programming. If you just know it, just say no it, or if you don't know, just say no. So never lie in an interview. So that is the serious advice that I would give you. So if you just know something, right, so I know this part, and I was the one who coded everything. Just say I was the one who did it. So they can easily find out with few questions, only with just few questions asking you, right. So they will definitely figure you out, like what kind of person he is, and did he complete this code. Just by looking at the code, and based on your answers, they can definitely find it out. So they have a ton of experience in doing this. So you will definitely caught. It is not like college, you can just skip it through. They will definitely see through you. So it is recommended that you don't do anything silly there. So make sure that you just be yourself, and do whatever and just say whatever don't bluff anything. So even that they can easily find. So don't bluff anything in the interviews, that I know this, I know that. They will just ask you to code this out. So you won't be able to do that, right. So if you're just bluffing it, so if you're just making it up, then they will definitely ask you to code it live. So you won't be able to do that, right. So don't do that actually. So what is the next step? I think I have answered this question. So I'm not sure about the step plus exam. No, after getting internship, I'm not sure, man. Ankit, I'm not sure. So you have different exams. Okay, so once you get into Cognizant, right, you will have weekly assessment. You will have this ICT at the end of each and every module. You will have a test, and there are a ton of exams that you have to take, and you will be undergoing training for conversational English and other things. So you will be trained on different things. You will have a ton of tests, so you don't have to worry about taking up tests. Once you make sure that you are good at what they teach you, you just learn it. So that is the only thing that you can do in your internship. What are good sources to learn SQL and Java? I think I have covered these two questions earlier, if I'm not wrong. So free resources, you have your YouTube. You can learn from there. You have W3 schools. You know those are pretty good platforms where you can learn. And Cognizant prefers W3 schools. You will have couple of references from there, so you can do that as well. So make sure that you at least have some grasp your basics, right, and then make sure that you have some basics covered at least. So SQL, I will be covering few SQL questions, or some basic of SQL. So might be another live maybe tomorrow, or day after. So you might expect the SQL coming out. So most people are asking it. So we'll just cover some basics. So make sure that you watch that, so that you will get a better understanding of SQL and how do you crack it. So that's it for then. When will be the last batch for internship? So it depends, man. It depends upon the number of people they have taken on board, or they are onboarding. This time I'm not sure there are. Cognizant has said, there are different. They want to increase their, uh, 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 Gen Z workforce. So there might be a lot of recruitments happen. So it depends. So I'm not sure why you asked that. So last batch, it might, someone has, said that uh, it might go to April, right? So you might even go up to that. So it depends. So what type of project will be? So they won't give you any project. They will give you just the titles and what you have to do, right? So let's say you have to build a hospital management system or any larger hospitals. Okay, so hospitals out there, so they will just give you a title, hospital management system maybe. This is just an example, so this is not an actual thing. So they will give you just the title, and they will have couple of things that you have to do. You have the user stories that you have to fulfill. You must have a login page. You will have details of different employees shown, and you will have some different details and other things. Okay, so you make sure that you select a good project, and you have to do it completely. So it won't be like a final year project. It won't be too heavy. So make sure that you at least take some good projects. So you will have a different range of products from the basic level to the expert level. So make sure that you at least take some project from expert to mid. So so that it helps you a lot in getting a good domain or good project after intern as a full-time employee. So make sure you do that. So I fill the Google form, which I'm asking some requirements for doing intern. That means, can I get the internship? So the one thing that is assured, right? So many people have asked that it is getting late, and when I will be getting this internship, and I think there are like 500 people asking the same question. So when I will be getting the uh, offer internship date of joining. So to all those folks, right? So you will one thing Cognizant assures you that you will get the internship, but it takes some time. So let's say Cognizant has different offices, right? So they need to allocate some x number of people to this particular batch to this location, and they have to allocate y number of people to this batch on this particular location. So there are ton of work they have to do. So that takes time, right? So if there are 5,000 to 6,000 interns, so they have to map each and every one of them to a batch, to a location, and to a coach. So it takes a lot of time to do and process things. So you might feel some delay, and even if things are virtual right now, so it might even get delayed. So you have to be patient a little, so that you get your one thing is assured is that you will definitely get your internship. So I hope that answered your question, Akhilesh. So your experience about your project during internship. So the one thing that I really felt that no, I just completed it in a week. So you might that might depend on your project and other things. So I just integrated whatever I know. I work on Python and Django, so I integrated my own API, which is hosted on Heroku, right? So my API, I have my own API which sends mail, to different people. So you just give the sender ID. Okay. So if your mail ID is Yashwant at gmail.com. So I just give your name, your email ID, and know the subject. So it just sends the mail on my behalf. So I have my API of my own. So I just use that, and I implemented machine learning to it, a basic model which kind of tells you whether this employee will pay the loan on time or not. So I did something of that kind. So once you have the various skills, right? So I really want to work on Python, so I was put in .NET. So I did the project on purely on .NET, so from entirely from scratch. So once you start with something, so I was put into .NET, and I really learned .NET completely from the scratch. I was not aware of the framework. I just know the basics of C Sharp since I was into game development earlier. So basics of C Sharp is fine, but .NET was new to me. So I completed the entire project in a week. So it might take some time. So if you want to complete the project in a day, you are most welcome to do that. You can do that actually. There are easier projects that you can take up. There are different titles that you can choose to. So I'll be putting up a video, then. So it might take months to do that. So once you are through the intern, right, I'll take a different session where I will be explaining on what kind of title that you have to choose, and what project that you have to do, and how do you make your project stand out. So you will be given some awards as well, like best project or best innovator award. So make sure that you are doing some innovation on your project. So I thought of doing the same. So if you are into that, please make sure that you do that, you kind of put some innovation into your project. So that's it for my experience. So it was pretty good actually. So I integrated whatever I know, whatever I have learned, till date. So I have put all my efforts into that project. So you can also do that. Make sure you do that so that you will get into a good, project or domain. So what domain you chose after internship? So I was not, I didn't choose it. So it was given to me. I work on .NET now. I learned mechanical. What should I learn when it comes to programming? Uh, so you have to learn at least the basics of programming. So make sure that you at least grasp some of the aspects. So I have covered the C sharp. So if you want to learn from C sharp, you can definitely do that. You can start from C sharp and then you can migrate to different languages if you want. Since you are from a mechanical background, you have zero knowledge of programming, if I'm not wrong. So if you have those zero programming knowledge, right? You can definitely start from scratch. So you will start from scratch anyway during your intern, but I highly recommend that you at least have basic knowledge even before getting into internship. So make sure you do that. So all of my friends got the offer letter of internship, but four, including me, haven't got the offer. So it's not an issue basically. So it depends when. So your scores might have differed. Your domain, sorry, you might be from a different background. You are not from a CS and ID background. So it really depends on your background and other things. So make sure if your friends are already in, right, so you have uh, a few experience, right, so you can get experiences from them. So what you have to learn and where you have to learn from, you can definitely get all the details from them, and you can start learning even before the internship starts. So you can definitely do that. You have the added advantage, I would say. So for the people who have gotten already your friends, there are like the first timers, right? So they are doing the internship for the first time. But once you have friends on, who have already been there, you are like the second, gen for them. So you can just ask them what are the questions, or how the preparation is going on, how things are rolling out, and you can also ask them how the test and what it is. You have to do it daily, and you can ask a lot of things to them so that you will get a better understanding of how things are going with them. So make sure you do that. Does training given during internship is good enough to do project? Yes, of course. So once you are into internship, you will, as I said, you will start everything from scratch. Okay. So the entire thing will go from scratch. So make sure that you put in your effort. So if you are not from CS and IT, or if you have zero, technical or zero programming knowledge, make sure you put in your effort and learn. So you have to put in your effort, and if you put your effort, you will definitely learn things. So you can definitely do that. I have seen most people, like from mechanical, civil people, learning programming and shining. So you can definitely do that as well. So nobody from our college got offer till today. Will internship be there? So the internship will be there. So if you are from different tiers, right, so the college has different tiers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and you have this premium institution. So that depends, and there are a lot of factors that will depend on when you will get your internship. So you can expect the this offers rolling out to you by at least by March end. So even if it extends, after that it is pretty difficult, but it might not extend. So even if it extends, right? So make sure you at least learn things side by side, so you learn different things. Okay. So your project work started as program analyst trainee, not yet, man. So project you are still under trainee, right? So for the 1 year you will be called as program analyst trainee, and where you have to learn different things. But you will be in a project, but you will learn. My friends are in Chennai and Bangalore and Pune, so they are put into project and they are still learning. So they are learning whatever is needed for their project. So those people are trained, and people train us. So make sure that you learn things. So you have to start your project. So once you are put into project, you have to learn whatever the requirement is. So the project requirement, you have to fulfill that. So are trainers friendly? So definitely the trainers are friendly, so you don't have to worry about that. So we eat our lunch together, and we even went on a outing together, and we like went we go for lunch together. So the trainers are true friendly. You can just interact with them as your friends or colleagues. So most people will be like that. So it is not like college. You will have like a gang and other thing. So you might have it, but the trainers will be too friendly. So you can just ask whatever you want, and you can share all your feelings to them. So they'll be like true, real, they'll be like really friendly. You can reach out to them anytime. So they will help you a lot. So waiting for internship mail from Cognizant. After what you got the internship after getting selected. I'm not sure what you mean by that. So let me tell you what happened with my story. So I think I cleared my interview on September 2019. If I'm not wrong, September or before that, I guess on September or October maybe. I started my intern on December 7th. So that was my starting rate. It was just 2 months. So we I started my intern. So but this time, I think the Cognizant has hired more people, so they don't know where to put, whom to put, and they have really a lot of confusions with them. So I think that is the problem of this time. So uh, after 2 months of gap, I was onboarded. So since most people have already I think since it is virtual, so it is getting late, but mostly 2 to 3 months, or might be 4 months. So after you or giving your internship, sorry, interview, and once you get the intimation of selection, so you are selected for Cognizant, you will definitely get onboarded pretty soon. It was the case last year, but this time it is pretty difficult, and it is. I think it is the cause that they hired a lot of people. So I think that is the cause. So Kavya, I am from Inezi, and I managed to learn code of ease to medium level in Java. How do I upgrade myself? Do you suggest a roadmap for me? So if you're already, no, I am even I am from an easy background, so the background doesn't matter, right? So the your interest purely matters. So I am not from a CS and IT background. I do a lot of stuff, and I do even more than what CS and IT guys do in my college. So make sure that you have the interest and you develop your interest. I do freelancing as well on Django. So I do a lot of things. So make sure that you create your interest, yourself. Like you have said, like easy to medium level. I have learned Java. So you have to put your own effort. So no one is going to put the effort for you on your behalf. So you have to train yourself. So even if you're from CS or EC background, or if you're from mechanical civil, so once you get into corporates, right, you won't be called as non CS and IT guys and CS and IT guys. So you will be like separated into groups with your programming knowledge. So this guy can do this job, and this she can do this kind of a job. So mostly it will be like that. So make sure that you create your interest. So the complete roadmap is like, if you are easy to medium, then I really recommend that you at least build couple of projects and put it on GitHub or LinkedIn or any other social media platform. Only I prefer LinkedIn and GitHub. So put it there, and make sure you understand things. So what people make the miserable mistake what people do, or the rookie mistake what people do is they don't really understand the code what they do. So they just go there and copy few codes, and they see what are the YouTube tutorials, and just they copy their code and just paste it, and just they run it and just give. So that won't really help you in anything. So you have to start from scratch, and you have to start coding by yourself. You should never copy paste. Even you can just see and type, and you will definitely get typos. So make sure you make the mistakes and learn from them. So making mistakes is not bad in programming. So if you're doing everything right at the first time, you will never learn anything. So the basic mantra, or the programming mantra is always code to fail. So that is the only mantra for coding. So once you fail, right, so you are failing for the entry level. So at the start you fail and you learn, and then if like 4 to 5 years down the line, if you make a silly mistake, you have never done that, you will have a hard time debugging it. So I have seen a lot of scenarios of that kind. I know people, or the entire code will be right and everything will work fine, and if they click submit button, or the notification won't be proper, and they might have had some rookie mistake that they might have in their code base. So make sure you do all kind of mistakes when you start out, and learn from them. So you have a record of what are the mistakes that you have done, and how do you rectify it. So I have my list. So you can do that. So make sure that you have a list, and you write down the questions or what is the problem that you had, and make sure that you have the solutions to it attached to it. So and your notes, just type it like I have done this, and how I made it work. So make sure that you do that, to make sure that you don't do the mistake again. So that will really help you a lot in uh, you know uh, for your future and your career. So IT career is pretty bad, and people make mistakes. So even for a 4 to 5 years of experience, for those kind of people, they do really mistakes. So it is not about not making mistakes at all, or it is not all about always make mistakes, but make sure that you at least make couple of mistakes while you learn. So once you start working on projects, right, on freelance projects or different projects, you don't have to make mistakes on them to learn. So it will be really hectic when you make mistakes on production project, and I know if something goes wrong on the production project, then you will be held responsible for that. So make sure that you make mistakes while you learn, and try to implement things in a clean code when you are into projects. So make sure that you do that. The roadmap is completely it is wide open to you. You can just start building projects. I really recommend that you take up some freelancing projects, one or two, to feel how the real world scenario is. So since I didn't had get into the good product based company, I wouldn't say Cognizant is bad, but you might not get good exposure to client side and people like that when you are into Cognizant, but you might get experience with client side when you are on site. So once you go for on site, right, so you have a lot of experience with client, and how do you talk and how do you present things, and it matters a lot. So it really helps you a lot in uh, you know expanding your site, so that it will grow your career path. So once you take a few freelancing projects, it will help you a lot in understanding how the real world scenario is and how you have learned. So no YouTube tutorial is available to your business requirement. So people teach only the basic things, or they teach only the syntaxes and other things. So nobody teaches how a real business case would look like, and what are the problems that you will face, and how do you rectify those? Nobody, there is no single tutorial which explains that. So I bet you there is nothing of such kind, so you have to learn by yourself. So that is where freelance projects comes in. So you take up that and you make sure that you complete it, and at least you learn something of how the real business use case looks like. So are you from a CS and IT background? No man, I am from an EC background. So I really love coding, so I started my coding at a really earlier age. So my uncle was a software developer, so I really wanted to be like a software developer since my uncle was a software developer. So I got inspiration from him. So the CS and IT department, doesn't it doesn't stop me from learning programming. So I do programming a lot. So I started it, so I really don't uh, take up this EC domain as a domain. So fully focused on programming. So it is not about the CS and IT domain. You have to create interest for yourself, and you have to learn. So I created my interest long time back when I first started using computer for gaming. So I created my interest from that, and still it is continuing till now. So and it will continue for the years to come. So make sure that you create your interest and start learning. So the inspiration comes from inside. So you watch ton of inspirational videos, and it kind of ignites you for a short burst. So once you are like, you don't watch the video, like after 2 to 3 days you lose your interest and start falling out and doing your normal routine. So the tutorials or nothing will help you. So once you start with your freelancing project, that can help you a lot, since you have the pressure of doing things. So you will start eventually learning. You are forced to learn, and you are forced to complete the project. So make sure you do that. What do you mean by freelance project? So Anita, it is like you are working for an organization, right? So you are working for Cognizant. So even in your college, so you can take up freelance project. So what I mean by freelance project is that there are people, right? So there are people like you and me who want some kind of piece of software or some kind of web development that has to be done. So if I need software, I need a web page for my portfolio. I would reach out to someone who is good at some UI design or some good UI design and other things. I would reach out to him. I would pay him some I would pay him to do my work. So it is something like that. So most people do that, but there are good freelancing projects as well. Like there are like different people who can you can reach out on LinkedIn. You can find more people on LinkedIn to work on freelance projects. So freelance project is something of that kind. So you do it on in your leisure. So you have your time on Saturdays and Sundays are off in Cognizant, so you can use those 2 days to learn. Sorry, you can use them to do your freelance project, or you can just take uh, 2 to 3 hours per day and complete your project. That is really up to you, and there are a lot of people. You can reach out to them on LinkedIn, and you can start right away. So platform for freelancing, I would really recommend the LinkedIn. So you don't have to pay anything. You can just learn. You can just reach out to people, and I am good at Python, so I can do Python and my ML programming. So you can just do that. You can just eventually reach out to people on LinkedIn and see if you can get a few clients. So that is the easiest way. Or if you want to be another even more easier way is there. You can there are platforms already available like Fiverr, freelancer.com, Upwork. So there are a lot of platforms of that kind. You can register in that, but you might be charged a fee. So make sure that you can just pay out to at least reach minimal level. So there are expert freelance developers, so you have to compete with them if you go with Upwork or freelance.com or any other thing. So LinkedIn is an easier way. You don't have to pay anything. You just create an account. You just post whatever your skill set is. and you reach out to people and you get your clients and you get your pay. So I hope that answered your question. Vinay. Our university is lovely professional university. Also there as nobody has caught up with when will our industry. So I think I'm not sure what tier it belongs, right? So it Lovely Pro, I think it is a deemed university, right? If I'm not wrong. Uh, so it is like the SRMs and Amartha and other things. So it really depends on the even on the colleges. It depends, and it depends on the students' performance, and it depends on a lot of weird things. So there are a lot of things happen under the hood, so you never know what is happening. So there is lack of transparency in that, and they maintain that. So uh, it is really difficult, like why you are not getting the, there are different uh, or different ways of seeing that. It is not only that the tier of the college that depends on you are getting your internship offer letter or not. So it depends on a lot of various underlying factors. So yeah, I really never know, but the internship will start at least by end of March. So maximum by end of March, but you might expect different offers rolling out even at next week, or maybe you can get it on Monday. So there are a lot of things can happen in a week. So make sure that you start learning by now. So that is the only thing that I can tell you right now. Does assimilation test decide my domain? Yes, of course, that is the deciding factor, and that is what this life is all about, and that is what this entire life is all about. So that is what we were discussing the entire life. So you can watch the previous live stream. So that is all we had. Actually, I'm good at C and C++, but I don't know Java. Is there any problem? So for the assimilation test, you might feel difficulty. So you need to know Java, or you need to know C sharp to take up the assimilation test. So those are the two languages that they have. So once you are once you are good at C++, I won't think you are left behind. So you can definitely learn C sharp in a week or so. So basically, just learn the syntax and just go ahead and do things. So it is like easier to do things, right? So once you are good at C++, then you are good at all the programming language. You just need to adapt to different syntaxes and other things. So yeah, I hope you can easily crack the assimilation test if you are good at C++. So you just need to learn the basics of other languages. Like if you want to go with C sharp, you can go with C sharp, or else you can go with Java. So you are from which college? So it is a college from South India, so you might never know. So yeah. So can you coding class? Yeah, so we have covered the C sharp basics, and a complete project live. So it was I think it was last week. So complete entire coding walkthrough. I code each and every line, and I explain what are the things that you have to do. So but I will do another live for sequel. So if you haven't watched that, Anita, you can please watch that after this live. So I have covered everything in live. So C sharp and the entire project that you will be building. So simple e-commerce project. So you just type whatever you want in the command line, and after you exit out of the shop, you will be given the bill, and uh, what are the product that you have bought and the total cost. So that is a simple project that I have done. So make sure that you watch that. But SQL, I will be doing it on Monday or Tuesday, depending upon the time. So I will do that. Anyway, thank you, sir. Today YouTube. So great, man. So thanks a lot. So keep supporting. So I will do a lot of live. So I really don't see why people don't do live. So it is pretty easy, and it is it is like interacting with people, right? So they just put out the video and they say go. So I have seen a lot of people don't even reply to the comments. So I do reply to all the comments. So if you can see, most questions you have asked, right? So right now, so everything has been answered previously on the comment. So there are like 300 to 400 comments. I am trying to take some screenshot of it and make a video of it so that you can easily get through all the questions that people have had. So I'll make sure that I will do that, so you can just have a good understanding on what are the questions that people had in their mind. So there are like pretty weird questions that even people had. So I'll do really post that so that you will have a better understanding of people, what people actually think after getting into intern. So yeah, please make a video on Java. So I really don't know code in Java. I just know the some basics of Java. So I really work on Python and Django, and C sharp. I learned at Cognizant. So C sharp and .NET. So C sharp I had the basics since I am into game development. So I had some basics of C sharp. So yeah, I won't do anything in Java though. C sharp, I think already it is done. So I'll make sure that I will cut that into chunks so that you will get a better understanding of each and every part, like the starting print statement and other things, and then we will go with print statement. Once that is done, you will go with loops, conditionals, and we will start with methods and how do you declare and how do you call it, and then we will go with classes and how do you create objects using constructor, and another inheritance and other concepts we will definitely cover those things. Yeah guys, so let me quickly show you some questions if you want. So I did have few questions covered already on the C sharp, the video that I have done. So let me put it in the comment few of the questions so that you are able to grasp. So even I'm not sure what were the questions. So any further question, guys? I think it is already time. So we're already like 1 hour. No, we are past 1 hour. So what are the domains in CTS Chennai branch, or will we be mostly testing, or will also have? So so uh, uh, coming to the domains on Chennai branch, so it depends. It is not like what domains on Chennai branch. So see, people from Chennai, right? So Cognizant, every company or any company you take, they want people from local areas. So if I am running a company, I would, I have a good chance of hiring people from Bangalore. Okay, so if you are from Bangalore, I would really, hire people from Bangalore. So it depends on the skill set of people that the site or the branch works on. So mostly I have seen people talking about machine learning and other domains come to Bangalore and Pune. So on Chennai, it is the main branch of CTS in India. So you have all the domains on all the branches. Okay, the number of domain the projects are the ones that differs. Okay, so it really depends on what kind of project that you are put in. So for a project you need a lot of people. Okay, you need people for testing, you need people for development, you need people for DevOps, you need people to maintain servers, you need database people who need to administer databases, and you need people to do some analysis, you need to have some data analytics people who need to work on different parts of the project. So for a single project, there are different teams working on that. Okay, so hope I make sense. So you have a lot of people put in a single project, so you will have a lot of roles you can learn from them. But domains are as a starting, you are just starting off, right? So make sure that whatever the domain you are put in, make sure that you work on that. And if you want to switch, so I am working on .NET, and I really want to switch to something in Python or Django. So if there is a opening in my project or other different projects, I can really swap. so I can go to the project and work. So you will have to clear some interviews for doing the same. So after even getting into Cognizant, you will have some interviews to clear so that you can get into good projects. So you can definitely do the switching part inside Cognizant. So development testing in it is everywhere. So on every single project you have development and testing team, and DevOps, as I mentioned, other all other teams will be there. So you need all the skills to make a project work. Manchuman, bro, will my internship location be? So it depends. So I got my internship location as Coimbatore, and I my full time is on Bangalore. So you might get your preferred location. So my preferred location was Bangalore and Pune. So uh, since my college was near to the south zone or near to Coimbatore, so I'm not sure that is the scenario that happened or any other thing caused. So but all my people have been mapped to Coimbatore. So since it was offline, we went to their offices and we worked as someone as 9 to 6. You have to sit in a front of a computer and you have to work. So since it is virtual now, you might expect a different location. So it will be mostly your preferred location for full time. So 95% of the time you will get your preferred locations. So I hope that answered the question. So let me quickly put the question. So let me quickly get into hacker rank. So you will have a lot of questions on hacker rank which you can solve. So I'll share the link so that you can practice after that. So this is my LinkedIn profile. If you want to have a look, please do have a look. And if you want to endorse, you can do that. If you want to leave uh, a recommendation, you can definitely do that. So once you get to yeah, SQL. So I'm sharing the link so you can practice with that. Okay. So we can practice with the hacker rank link. So I'll pin it at the top if you want. The hacker rank link is or SQL. So you can practice that, and you can practice other different languages even on HackerRank. So there are ton of different languages that you can practice on. So make sure that you at least learn the basics of C Sharp. So I don't think they have something for C Sharp if I'm not wrong. I didn't see anything for C Sharp. They have Python, they have Java, they have even for Ruby, but they don't have anything for C Sharp specifically. But what you can do is you can take up any algorithm or any challenge and you can start doing it in C Sharp. Okay. So let me quickly go into Python. Try again. Okay, so you don't have anything for C Sharp, but you can try functional programming. Okay, so you have a practice session for that on HackerRank. You can definitely check that out. So that will really help you a lot in uh, building the building the uh, base of your project. So let me share you the GitHub link where we have the C Sharp code. So this is my repo where I post the assimilation test, no questions and other things. So please do use this GitHub repo. If you're not familiar with GitHub, so you have to. GitHub is like a place where you dump all your code, where you can share, different things. So make sure you visit this thing so that you will get an idea of how things are. Got an email that my internship in 38 internship for 6 months or okay. So for the internship, so you might see that in the same letter whichever you have got. So it is like it is not mandatory that you will be in 6 months. Okay, so it depends. So once you clear in the first attempt, the final project, you will be you will just complete it in 4 months. So if you don't clear the in the first attempt, you might be trained for 10 to 15 days, and then you have to take up another project and you have to do. So that is where the 6 months come in. So it won't be for 6 months. It's really difficult for them. If it is for 6 months, it is really difficult. Yeah. So I have pinned the GitHub repo. So if you want, please do have a look at it. So you have all the code in there for C sharp and other things. So make sure that you at least see the basics, and you have all the basics covered in the first video. So let me share you that link as well. Uh, so it will be on the see assimilation test playlist. So if you want to have a look at it, please do so. That will help you a lot. For the sequel, I have a couple of requests from people, so we will do that live on Monday or maybe on Tuesday. So please do catch the live for that. So we'll have that on 7:30 or 8. So we'll do at 7. So I have been doing it regularly on 7. So the timing is pretty good. So we'll do it on 7 on Monday. Okay, so Monday sequel will do that. Okay, any more question, guys? So please do check out the GitHub repo to get more things. Another thing that I forgot to tell you guys is okay, how much do you like Cognizant? So do you want me to rate it or like uh, okay? So out of for a scale of 10, I would say 8 or above 8. You get a lot of free time, and so I really want to be like that. So get a lot of free time. You work on your 9 to 6, and you just enjoy rest of the time. So if it is if it is you work for you go to our office, right? So you will just enjoy the day. So each and every day you will just enjoy your work. So if you do enjoy your work, you will definitely enjoy Cognizant as well. So you won't have much of difficult work to do. You don't have to lift any weights there, so you don't have to struggle there. So it was not a big big struggle for me, but there are people who are struggling a lot since they are not from a CSNIT background. So it depends. So once you are you are liking what you do, you like in any company. But I know the only problem when it comes to the salary and other things, right? So that is when things get started heating up. So your friend might get an appraisal and you might not get, and he might be promoted and you will not, and that is when the heat pumps up a lot. So it really depends. Which would you prefer, CTS or Accenture, for a fresher perspective? So if you just want to learn a lot, it really doesn't depend upon the company. Okay, so whether it is CTS or Accenture or TCS or Infosys, it really doesn't matter. So I really suggest that you get into anything. So if you want to just switch earlier, right? So I think the other companies have some bond kind of a thing for 1 year or so, 1 year or 2 years. So you don't want to switch, if you want to switch earlier, then you can choose Cognizant. Since you don't have any bond, you can just switch, whenever you want. You just have the notice period, you can just switch. But Accenture and CTS, pretty much everything is the same. But if you want to learn everything from scratch, since I went through the CTS journey, I can talk a lot about CTS. So if you're just starting out, okay, you don't have any knowledge of programming, or if you have just little knowledge of programming, you're like earlier to mid level in programming or in your career path. I highly recommend that you go with CTS. Since you start from scratch, you have a lot of free time. You have Udemy access for free. You can learn whatever you want. You can enrich your skills on whatever you like. So that is the beauty of Cognizant, I would say, and the intern of it. So you can just see, you will have some tasks. Okay, for daily task you have weekly tasks that you have to do. You can just complete in a day or two. I did the same. They would ask you to learn SQL or C sharp and other things. You just complete it in 2 days, whichever you have to complete it in a week or 8 to 9 days. You just complete it in 1 or 2 day, and you start studying whatever you like, or you do projects whatever you want. Since it is purely virtual, you have even more free time to do whatever you want. So if it is on Cognizant, it is really difficult. You have to after returning back after 6, you have to learn, you have to practice. But since you are virtual, so you can just complete it in 4 to 5 hours of time, the entire week of work, and you can start learning whatever you want. So make sure that you can do that. Now for a first fresher, I would really suggest, if you're from those kind of categories, you can definitely choose CTS. Info on when Cognizant is going to start offline. So most companies have still in discussion. So even Google and other companies have extended it till this year. So and they are planning to have a hybrid model. So there might be a case where only the sales and managers and other things, other people who really want to be in a face-to-face environment where they have to discuss few things, so only those people might be called to office, and others be permanently working from home. Even TCS has given some information on permanent work from home. So there are a lot of speculations going around that. But starting offline, it depends on the pandemic, so how things roll out, and even this vaccine thing, how things are rolling out. So it depends on a lot of factors. So you might be getting into office once you are in a full time. So you can definitely expect that you will definitely get into an office after this internship. Which broadband connection do you use, bro? So I use something local. So I have been using that from my my father's friend. So it is pretty good. So but you can use Airtel. Airtel fiber is pretty good, so most people use that. Airtel, it is pretty good. So it is even cheaper, like 500. I'm not sure, if I'm not wrong, 500 is the least you can pay to get a good connectivity. So if you can afford that, I really recommend that you get a broadband, so that it helps you a lot. No, you can never say that you, even when you're presenting, right? You see people, the voice is breaking a lot, your video cam is jittering, and your presentation is not good. So to avoid those weird situations, you can definitely get a broadband. So if it would be permanent, then it would be great for us. So I don't think I would really be, doing everything from home. I really don't want to do that, and I really want people. I want to meet people, and I want to go out and see how things are going around. Office. So once you get responsibilities, once you have a family and other things, right? So you might prefer work from home, since you have to take care of a lot of things, and you cannot go away, and you cannot do other things. In that scenario, work from home will be pretty good. Permanent work from home will be very good for those kind of people. But if you're new, right, if you're a fresher and if you're pretty new to this tech field, you have to explore a lot of things. So when you come to Bangalore, you have a lot of meetups, you have a ton of events going on every weekend. and even every day you have a lot of people coming in, going out. So make sure that you don't, even if they ask for a permanent work from home, I highly recommend that you don't take that up at the initial stage. So you're just starting out, right, in your career, so you don't want to just sit in the home and do all the work and just go, so it is of no use. So I would really do that. Even if they say permanent work from home, I really don't want to do that. So Kavyashri, thank you for subscribing. Got the notification just now. So I hope you have gone through the LinkedIn or my GitHub repo. So if you have any questions on that, how do you create a good LinkedIn profile, or have some good LinkedIn profile? So, and I'll be completing another certification on Microsoft. So make sure that if you have any questions on certification and other things, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, Instagram, or any other platform. So all the links are in the description. So you can see to that. So I'll be making a couple of videos on certification and other things. So make sure you stay tuned to that. And we have a special thing tonight. So live streaming of Rocket League. So if you play Rocket League, then do add me to your squad. So we'll be glad to play with you. So we'll be going live at 10 or 10:30 maybe. So just 2 games. So we'll wind up with that. If you play Rocket League, please do a DM on Instagram. So we'll play together. Yeah. Will the assimilation test be optional to take? So we had an option. So for CS and IT guys, it is they made it mandatory, but for the other folks, it is optional that you can take it up or you may not. So it is purely your decision to make. So that's it. I think that answered all your questions. So yep. So I think all your questions has been answered. So make sure you join the live at on Monday or Tuesday, maybe when it comes out for sequel. We'll take up the sequel and we have a live session on that. We'll take it up with the hacker rank. If you are doing it parallelly, it is even better. So if you have face any questions, if you have any errors coming up, you can just post it on the chat and we will discuss and we will solve it. So make sure you do that. So yeah. So make sure you join the live for Rocket League. So we have the Rocket League live coming today. So we had the same yesterday. No, I'm not sure of the timing. So we'll do it today as well. So weekends it is Rocket League or Apex Legends. So next week we'll play Apex Legends. So if you're into gaming and if you have a good laptop with good internet connectivity, now do DM and we'll play together. Do they have Android branch in internship? Not an intern, but you have to acquire the basics of Android, Kotlin, or Flutter, whatever you want to choose. You can do that, and you can apply for different roles inside Cognizant. So that is how you build. So they don't have a specific domain or they don't train you on Android, but you can learn by yourself and you can just clear the interview and get the job done. So that is how you do inside Cognizant. So once you get in, you have a lot of domains. So if you want to see what are the domains that Cognizant has, just go to this link, okay, and see what are the different job roles they have. They have ton of job roles yet to be filled. You can apply for any of those internally. Once you are joining as a full-time employee, you can just apply for any of those, and you can start working. So I hope that answers your questions. Okay, guys, see you on the live. You on today's Rocket League. Then, yeah. So yeah. So thanks guys for joining in. So I know it is Sunday, so thanks a lot for joining in on your weekend. So make sure that you're ready for your weekday, and if you're into Cognizant internship, make sure that you at least put some effort to learn things. Okay. So thanks a lot for staying till the end. So who are started, not sure how many of us are from the start, from the beginning. So yeah. So if you're from the start, kudos to you. So thanks a lot for staying till the end. So yeah, yeah. Don't if you have any further questions, please do DM or put it in the comments or put it in the chat. So we'll take up that. So thanks a lot, guys, for joining in. See you on the next one.